You don't need to be more outgoing, loud, or constantly performing to be more charismatic. I used to be very quiet when I was a teenager, and I got a lot of advices from people around me to speak more, smile more, to be more interesting and agreeable. Yet at the same time, don't be too noticeable, don't be too authentic, and also don't outside your peers. And I follow all of these instructions without realizing that they were from people who never networked. I grew up in an Asian culture and family where people work for the same jobs for like 20 years, and most connections around them were colleagues, bosses, and relatives. This kind of community requires them to constantly wear a mask and always perform, always try to be useful, to not be eliminated. Later on, my life took a totally different turn. I joined a career that requires a lot of teamwork and networking skills, which was marketing. And at that moment, I have two choices: to keep this mask and be awkward forever, or to be brave and try new things. And that is when I start this journey to be more myself in communicating. I started to speak up more honestly when I feel something is off. I show more of my talents. I help people solve problems, even though I know that sometimes it will make people around me feel less than or jealous. Yes, in the beginning, I did got myself some enemy, the people who were triggered by me being more proactive, and they may even have some passive aggressive actions to put me back into my place. But in the end, I also gained myself a fair share of true deep connections that truly see me and love me. And when I looked deeper into that, I realized the people who accept me for my authenticity were usually the ones who seems to be more successful, emotionally healthy, and peaceful. That was when I realized that there's actually a way for me to be myself, this version of me who doesn't talk much, who are not always too loud, at the same time can be also charismatic. And on this deep journey of learning to be more charismatic in my own way, I came to a realization that charisma isn't just natural talent or improvisation. It's a system that you meticulously build. It's the same way as a baby learn how to talk. Their parents don't just speak to them one word, one time and then expect them to know how to talk right away, right? They need months and months of constantly looking at their parents' mouths and hear the sounds until they finally learn how to speak. Or it's the same way when you learn a new language. It's much harder when you just sit there and try to learn by heart on the vocabulary, right? It's easier when you create a whole system around yourself to repeatedly expose yourself to new vocabularies, like you travel to the city, you talk to the people, you watch movies in that language until it absorbs into your mind and you can remember by many times it repeated. It's the power of compounding knowledge. It means that you create a whole system to expose yourself to this kind of new knowledge until you absorb this into your mind, your body naturally, like it's your own essence. Most communication advices I learned before usually follow the same framework or formulas, and sometimes they have some fractions because the connections between human and human are usually a variant. They are very flexible and constantly change. So I'm gonna share with you in this video some tips on how I built a system to be more charismatic and magnetic without compromising yourself, trying to be somebody you are not, and trying to fix yourself into the same formula every time. And it starts with those 6 principles: power, environment, appearance, vocabulary, stories, and connection. Let's start with power. So it's basically your vibes or your energy, but I prefer to call it power after many times I learned. It's because you have the ability to harness this energy within yourself that it became so strong that it looks like it shines out you, like you have this kind of very attractive and magnetic aura every time you go outside. And many people ends up being energy vampires because they don't know how to get this energy from their own resources. So they constantly seek outside validation to feel that they are in power. It shows through those subtle things that they unconsciously do, like bringing others down to keep their self-image safe, or constantly wear a mask to control others' perspective about them, or even indulge in some addictions like body counts or impulsive attention-seeking social media posts just because they want to stay in power or have this feeling of being in power. But this kind of power and energy was created based on fake foundations, and they have to keep look outside to get it every time. And what it was is that they will crave more and more of it. It's never enough or they will never feel satisfied. It's just like another kind of dopamine addiction. The reason why this is bad for your charisma is that people will naturally feel when you were desperate and trying to prove yourself. I observed a lot of people who were trying to force their way into people's attention. I noticed that people always avoid them, especially kids, because they can feel the energy so well. And on the other side, when you learn to be detached, you focus on yourself, you move with a purpose, and you actually live accordingly to those purpose and rules that you set with yourself. You will have this aura that's really, really magnetic. So now how to harness that kind of energy from within yourself. After many lessons, many experiences that I learned, I think this is the most effective way that I tried was that I was literally the center everybody around me, the center dating, the center social life, and just focus on this journey to explore myself. And I will answer these three questions. Number one, what make me more alive? What make me jump out of bed every day? Two, what action that after doing I feel a little bit better about myself. 3. How can I see my own flaws as my supernatural advantage? Let's have some example. So the first question, what makes me feel more alive? Maybe like going to the gym every morning because I know that it will raise my energy for the rest of the day. Or I would say I love cooking. I love to invest fully my mind into my food. And at that moment, I felt more like I'm in a flow stage. I'm creating something. And then after that, I enjoy my own creation, my own food. Then what make me feel a little bit better about myself after doing it? When I invest in my nutrition, my self-care routine, I feel more beautiful. I feel more fit. Of course, that is when I feel a little bit more better about myself. It shows through my appearance, right? All those times when I help somebody solve a problem, not just to perform or try to get their validation, but just like because I love to solve problem, and after that I feel a little bit more creative and intelligent. And next, how can I make my flaws become my advantage? So for example, before I thought that I'm not good at making first impressions because I'm not so expressive and also I'm not like so talkative or bubbly in the beginning. But then I learned to look at it in the other side as my advantage is that I am better with true authentic connection with real people who really know how to slow down and really talk and curious, genuinely curious about me instead of always it's my work to make the first impression on them or try to do on this work of like attracting people to me. These three questions really help me to contain my aura instead of leaking all my energy outside for validations and comparing myself to other people. Next, environment. Have you ever been with some groups where no matter how much work you have done on yourself and trying to be useful and help other people around you, you just feel like you were still misunderstood. You feel like you were invisible. It's because we were putting ourselves inside the wrong circle. So the next thing after we have already done the work on ourselves is to put ourselves in the right place. And this word is so big that certainly you will eventually find those community that really match your values. I used to go to some networking events where like I saw people just staying in groups and they are not open to let anybody new inside. And I also saw those people who stand in the corner and feel so confused. And later on, I realized that that was a cultural event where people already mostly know each other from the same culture. And they are not also the culture that welcome newcomers. So before you go out and make friends or network with your people, try to do some research beforehand if that event really match your qualities and your purpose. You know, sometimes it's not always better to make more friends, meet more people to expand your network. If your network is full of misaligned people, then your network is not so quality. So we should be more strategic to use our time in the right way to connect ourselves with the right kind of community that can not only see us, understand us, but also help us expand ourselves every day. Some tricks I have learned to know if an event really worth my time is first if I want to expand and connect with people in business. So of course I will search for business event and I look inside their schedule. Or even I can ask the facilitator if they have like networking session because some event doesn't have that session where they let other people network together. So that's how I know that that kind of event there will be people who also new like me and they're open to get to know each other. Or other ways, uh, how I want to connect with people in my same field is to go to some workshops. So there I actually help myself gain some skill, learn more, and also sometimes in workshop the faci- the facilitator will actually pairs you in groups or in couples to really like work together on some games or some small projects. So that's how you can also get to know each other more deeply. Another kind of event that really worth our time is where you can meet people that just another level um, upper than you. So, for example, instead of trying to force your way into those super rich or millionaire clubs where like your quality is so far from each other, and even like if they share with you something, you cannot understand that because they already master what they have done in their life. So it's better to connect if you want to grow and expand to a higher level. It's always better to connect with the environment that is the next step that you want to go. Like if you want to build a business and now you haven't had any revenue yet, then try to find those groups of entrepreneurs who already made like 5K, 50K per year. And because they have been through that journey and they are the closest to you that they can still remember some knowledge they learned and they can share with you. And again, like birds of the same flocks attract to each other. So if you feel unseen in those environments that you want to be in, there's probably some work that you need to do on yourself. Try to learn how to connect with people more, how to be more open. And if you don't know how to do it, then try to make friends with at least one person in that group that you want to be in. and ask them to take you there and actually learn from that person. Like try to find for yourself a mentor first, and then the mentor will show you the way to expand your connections. Now we have appearance. So I know what you think, like isn't it too shallow to just focus on your external appearance? In my case, my appearance have done a lot of heavy work in terms of first impressions. When your voice is not a strength, you are not like so talkative or your energy is not like outwardly expressive, then having a nice appearance, I'm not saying you have to be like have features in your face that attractive, but I mean like being clean, have a nice clothes, it will help you speak a lot of languages that your voice didn't have the chance to speak yet. For example, if you have a fit body, it also says a lot about your disciplines and persistence in your daily life. Like somebody who is like lazy, of course, they won't be fit, right? Or if you have clean attire, clean clothes, you look polished and you have nice posture, it also shows to other people that you really take care of the details in your life and you actually manage your time well to really take care of those like small features. And it's also a language to show that this is not something that people can disrespect, right? If they see you very careful like this, stable, careful, polished, in the first impression, they know that you are not somebody like they can take things for granted with or take things easy because they know you will see that. And not just that, when you really take care of your appearance, you feel better about yourself, you feel more attractive. And when you carry that energy outside, people will also feel attracted and feel good about you too. One of the best investment I did is to hire a personal trainer to help me get fit faster and to go to the fashion styling academy. That later on, I also have my freelance jobs as a fashion stylist. I style for myself, I style for other people too. And I realized that sometimes being polished in terms of your fashion and your outfits is not really complicated. You know, many people think that they have to be fashionable, wear those like impressive, like trendy clothes like fashionista to really stand out and be attractive. But actually it's not. Sometimes you just need to look clean, like your clothes doesn't have any dirt on it or any like holes. Like I saw some people who like went outside and their clothes literally like very tearing and the fabrics was really wore off already. Clean, new and fresh. That's it. Like change your wardrobe like every 2 years or check the quality of your clothes. And you just need like one around like 2 or 3 outfits. You know, like 2 or 3 evergreen outfits every time you go out. And so you don't have to try to like spend a lot of time to think about what you wear to this occasion because you already know like maybe for a networking event you will take the same outfit that you hang in your wardrobe out or maybe on a date night you have the same dress, so it's not really hard, right? Just give it a little bit attention and make sure that it fits your budget and your energy. And if you can do more than that, you can invest more in learning how to do makeup, how to be like more like beautiful. That's awesome. I think invest in your appearance is only shallow when you don't do the work inside. But now imagine you have both like a good inner work, intelligence, kindness, and appearance is the whole package. Next, vocabulary. So if you are somebody who constantly struggle with this thing called, I don't know what to say, like when you stand in front of somebody and your mind literally go blank, like you don't know what to talk. It's not the problem of emotion. It's not just that. There's something deeper is that you don't have enough vocabulary. And usually we have this mistake where we think that we already speak it as our mother tongue, so we don't have to learn more, right? But I noticed that recently we have a lot of new words that coming up out of nowhere, like AI, artificial intelligence, the Lulu, somatic healing, something like that. Some modern technology that we need to learn. And also, when you have more vocabularies about different topics, it also makes you sound smarter and you can make deeper conversations with people. You will never run out things to talk about. There's another level of improving your articulation is to know how to better express your feelings in terms of how to have different words to describe it, not just like sad, happy, bored. Like there's so many words to express your feeling. Like you feel confused, you feel terrified, you feel flabbergasted, something like that. So that's why I have this habit that I usually do every day is to improve my vocabulary through two ways. So it's like you learn a new language. For example, what would you do? You would choose first to input it, and second you choose to output it, right? So in the input way is when you maybe listen to music, podcast, or read, so you can learn, you can adopt new words and new vocabulary, and then you output it. You need to like remember those words, and you know how to bridge the gap between your thinking and your articulation, your speech. And by doing that, for me, I usually make myself speak faster. What I think is through journaling. Listening to podcasts every morning helps me a lot with knowing what the current situation is and what words they were using to describe those situations, and how those like people share their story, how they speak about their experience and their feelings. So I didn't like intentionally note down every vocabulary, but I know like some words they repeat it in every podcast, every content. And when I listen to it again and again, it will slowly become my own language. And then I learned to speak it out faster by journaling. So whenever I have some experience or anything, or even on a daily basis, I will try to journal it down. Because when you journal, you will get into this flow of articulating your thinking outside. So usually, like if you don't have many friends like me, like we don't have a lot of chance to speak. But if you write it down, you will practice like output your thinkings. And the more you journal, the faster you can like speak up what's in your mind. And when you write, you also get into this creative energy where you can have like over time more creative ways to describe your experience, your feelings. Or even sometimes I have those feelings inside me that I cannot describe, like that kind of sensation, and I don't know why I feel it, like or what exactly it is. And then I try to do some research, or even like I describe it to ChatGPT, and it helps me identify what kind of feeling I got at that moment. And then again, I have a new vocabulary to describe what I'm feeling right now. Next, story. I've never seen somebody who is charismatic and intelligent that cannot tell a good story. If you look at those who are very successful and influential, they don't just go to people to say, this is how good I am, this is why you should choose me, these are my qualities, right? They will tell very, very good and engaging stories about their life lesson, their transformation, those times they went from being broke to become a millionaire. We all know about that. And it's the fact that you don't need to have that like very intense story like them to be charismatic. You can just share some simple like transformation and lessons that you have to connect with people. When you have a library of your own story, it helps people relate to you more, and also it helps them see your skill in problem solving, your strength when you're going through some difficult times, and it's a natural way to tell people how great you are at certain things. You don't always have to tell people like which are you working on, or how many rewards or achievements you had before to prove your worth. People will never remember how much you had, how much you earned, or the details of your story, but it's how you make them feel, how you inspire them. And when you tell a story, a good story, you will have on those factors like the dialogues, the feelings at that moment, the aha moment, and those kind of details can help people wake up their feeling when they listen to your story, and then that's how they remember you more. And here's how I learned to tell a good story. First, I need to have a library. So I spend some time to every day to write down some experiences that I have. In other words, I call it case study. So I will write like three transformation story I have. For example, my weight loss journey, my journey from being an introvert to being more confident, or my glow up journey when I have a very bad fashion sense to become like a fashion stylist and help other people too. So those kind of story that show very clear transformation from A to B is a very influential story already. Some other kinds of story I put into my library is a professional case study, like how I solve a problem for my clients. So if I go out to professional workshops or look for a partner to work with, I have something to tell them too. And guess what? It's not just the story itself and what happened inside that story, it's how you tell it. And this is my formula to tell a good story. Sometimes, if you ever catch yourself in this moment where you tell a story and you go full circle, you go so far from the main point, and then you just like speaking unstoppable about something that you've been through, but there's no message, nothing that stay after that story in both of yourself and that person, or sometimes it even leads to this awkward silence because both of you went too far from the main topic that you were talking about. If you have that problem, it's because you lost track. You don't have the like something I call the backbones of that story to tell people. So this formula helps me stick to the main message and the main topics that we were talking about every time I tell people a story to relate with them. First is I zoom into the message, the lesson that I learned first at that moment that I want to share with my friend. For example, I want to share with my friend about a lesson I learned when I know that I'm underpaid for a job. So now you have the lesson, the message, the truth of that story, right? You go back one more step to focus on the aha moment. When did you learn about that lesson? And really focus on the dialogue and the feelings at that moment. For example, like now my message is I learned that I'm being underpaid, and then I go back to that aha moment. I realize is when I talk with my friend and she told me that, hey, recently I got my freelance project and I earned $3,000. And I asked her like, what is the scope that you do? And she told me that she do the exact same scope at mine, and she made like 10 times my salary. And at that moment, I feel a little bit frustrated. I compare myself and I feel like, oh my God, I just waste so much time on a simple job and being underpaid and endure all of those like office drama and all of those like struggle without being paid. And now from that aha moment, you go back one more step to zoom into the struggle before that aha moment. And again, focus on the only the struggle, and instead of sharing all of the details, like I can share you all of the details about like how I start the job, how in the beginning everything is good. So for example, my struggle before that aha moment is that I work for this job and I struggle to pay rents and bills every month. At the same time, I always have to stay late at work. Also, I struggle a lot with my self-confidence, and I didn't know that this skill that I had already can make me a lot of money. And that's when it leads me to this time when I talk with my friend, and that's when I realized that my skill can make this much money, right? Now you can see I have the whole sequence of the story in reverse, like from the message to the aha moment to the struggle. And my job now in communicating is to tell it in the correct order, struggle to aha moment to the message. So next time when you want to talk to somebody and tell a story, try to make a quick sequence like this in your head and tell it from the beginning. And the more you practice, the faster you can connect the story. And don't worry if you don't have so much time to think, because sometimes the less time you have, the more your brain can connect the dots quicker, and you can be more focused and condensed in the what details that really matter in that story, instead of going the whole way about, like, for example, how I started and the people around me, who they are, what did I do in my everyday life, in the job, right? Those details don't really matter, and it also make people feel sleepy or bored when you tell that story. And now we are here, we have connection. Most people think that to be charismatic means you always have to have like high energy, a lot of excitement, and bubbly to be charismatic. That's true, but it's not all the way for introverts like us or shy people like us. We also have some strength, which is one-on-one conversation. True charisma is not just about being the light of the party. It's also about you are being present enough to make people feel seen, understood, and connected. One way to connect to people is to have a mutual story with them. And I already told you how to say a good story in the last part. So this part, I will tell you how to match people energy. So if people come to you and they are a calm, peaceful person, you don't have to be loud and trying to talk over them. But instead, you also leave them some space to speak about themselves, and they may take more time, but be patient. Or if somebody who is high energy, you can reply with them back in laughter and high energy. And after many lessons and methods I learned, I think the only no-brainer and easiest way to make people feel seen and heard is that you are genuinely care and curious about them. And I know that it sounds strange, right? And for me, it's truly a muscle to train, like the ability to be empathy with people and the ability to know that you need to give first before you want to receive. I know when we socialize, we all have self-interest. Like either you want to get a job opportunity, a business partner, or even a romantic partner. You also want to be like feel validated, cared for. That's why we go out, right? We always have this thing where we feel lonely and then we go out to connect. It's self-interest. But I learned many times that when you are lacking and you go outside to search for people to fulfill that needs, it's always come from those short-term connections that cannot stay, because eventually people will feel that it's all about you. It's not about them. And they feel uncomfortable when you just come to people and bust about yourself, right? Before you want people to see you, understand you, want to connect with you, first be the one who give the hand first to them. If they are telling you about a tough experience or a very sensitive topics, instead of having this judgy energy or bust to them about your own experience, you also happy to jump right away to who you are, what you do, and then try to give them logic solutions when they just want to share a story to feel heard. Then now you can try to fix it by first hold a bucket for them to spill their emotions first, and then you have them make those emotions clearer. For example, if somebody tell you a story about their breakup, instead of like jumping right away to your own story of breakup, like, oh, I also broke up with my ex like years ago, and I also have this, have that. So you can tell them, oh, I know it's really hard at time, right? Sometimes you feel peaceful and other time you feel brutal. Suddenly the memories come back. You literally have them like describe that feeling and diagnose that feeling. And when you can share about your own story, share with the intention to let them know that they are not alone. They are not the only person who go through the breakup. In this world, there are many people who went through it, and let them know that things will be fine later. That's how you can connect with people, by truly surround them first with this gentle energy of care and curiosity, instead of always want them to validate you first, want them to think about your story and feel admire how strong you are for going through those difficult moments. There you have it. Charisma isn't just some bolt of lightning that strikes a lucky few. You don't really need to change who you are. You just need to build a system that allows your authentic self to shine and connect. And I would love that you can pick one principle in this video and work on it this week. Either write down 3 stories of your transformation or listen to some podcasts about productivity, self-love, or nutrition, which whatever that interests you. And if you're also on this journey to stop chasing validations and start building a genuine magnetic confidence, don't forget to hit the subscribe button right now. And I will see you in next video. Thank you.